So, how you been?
Oh my God. I've been all right. How have you been?
Been good. So, school's back in sessions as we record this episode, post Labor Day. So, kids are in school.
Thank God for that.
Thank God for that. Yes. It's just trading one set of problems for another.
I know, but I feel like by the end of the summer, I'm like running out of fun things. I'm running out of spoons and I'm running out of money. I'm like, you guys have to go back to school. Like, I can't keep trying to entertain you.
Yeah.
That Myrtle Beach vacation almost took me out financially. I was like, we're done. We got to wrap it up and go home.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be poor forever.
Yeah. I mean, you could try selling some houses.
Doubt it. I did that. I like to go real front heavy. You know this about me.
Yeah.
I like to go real hard at the beginning of the year, and then by summer, this is my toxic trait. I wholeheartedly, as a grown woman, believe that we all should, like, summer vacation should be a thing. Like, as soon as it's nice outside, I dip out. I'm like, I gotta go. I think I did my last transactions in July, and then I was like, I'm done. I gotta go. Summer break.
It's not much different because in July and August, realtors are on vacations and nobody's in the office.
I want to live my life, dude.
I'm like,
Sue me.
well, there's really not a point of like doing a lot of marketing stuff over the summer because nobody shows up.
And everybody's gone anyway, and then everybody's doing back to school.
Yeah, so
your
my
clients
summer
are
vacation,
busy.
Summer vacation extends into the fall, and then we're into the winter. I'm like, oh, it's holidays. I mean, nobody's in the office again.
See, that's the kicker. You got to not do that. You got to like. Once it's like September, you got to go hard from like September to November, and then you can chill.
Oh, well, I mean, I would. I mean, that's why I have Courtney, but she's on vacation all the time. So
as she should.
Yeah.
Girls need vacations.
So one of the things we want to talk about in this shortened episode, because Mandy has other important appointments besides us today.
Sure do.
Is I've noticed a trend in real estate in a shifting of the landscape, meaning how they run their business. And we always talk about systems and things like that and help to be more efficient. But one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of people are starting to outsource a lot more stuff, which kind of goes along with what you've talked about before. We've both talked about is, the old model of real estate. We have this brick and mortar and all the expenses and all the things, that come along with it. And then you have these cloud brokerages coming along, kind of changing that model, right? Mm-hmm. And then a lot of these brick and mortars are largely unused, right? Because, there's some agents that want to go into the office and be around people, but a lot of them just don't come into the office. Mm-hmm. So now we're seeing the huge use of virtual assistants.
Yes.
Mainly overseas, Philippines, some in the States.
Yeah.
We're seeing, instead of in-house transaction coordinators, more contract transaction coordinators, 1099s, where they're starting their own business and they're just working with a bunch of different agents from different brokerages, different teams, and things like that. So what do you, and I'm sure there's other things as well that's being outsourced and all the things, social media marketing, all the things that's just being outsourced. So what do you think about all of that and where is it going to end up?
I think we're facing a huge, I think we're right on the edge of a cliff and most people don't even realize it, which is where we're about to see a huge upheaval in our industry as a whole. I think for sure the large brick and mortars, the old school way of doing real estate, I honestly think that's on the way out. I think what you're going to see a lot more of is growth within the cloud brokerages. I don't even think we've stopped the expansion of the cloud brokerages. I think there's going to be new ones that pop up. And I honestly think if boutique brokerages play it smart, this is 100% their time to shine. But they have to be smart, and that's the kicker. And I think that's the really, really hard thing. And I think a lot of people look at brokerages and they think oh, they own a brokerage, they've got to be successful, they've got to have a ton of money. You could not be more wrong.
Yeah.
The margins are razor thin when you're talking about a brokerage. It's why a lot of times you're going to see brokerages where their broker owner is also still producing because they have to.
Yeah.
And also they slapped their name on it like a dum-dum. And so now people are like, well, I want her. Yeah. It's like, okay. So I think if cloud brokerages can kind of tweak some stuff to be a little more reliable, a little more of a value add, they might see some success. I think some of them are trying here around town. They're really trying to like have the best of both worlds. They're trying to do like these sales meetings and give training and give value to the agents while also giving them their space and putting everything through technology. I think you got to be smart with that. I think you need the right people. And I think the little guys, the little boutique brokerages, be really, really smart, give a lot of options. And I think you're going to win, actually.
And, that's a good point because we have those cloud brokerages around here, just like everybody does. And like I said, they're trying to do the monthly meetings and stuff like that. When you go to a cloud brokerage and you're trying to do these monthly meetings, you got to have a space, right?
Yes.
So now you're renting a space, and a lot of the models tend to go to how it's always been, which is, hey, do you want to sponsor it, right?
Right.
And then or another one that actually got an office, which kind of goes against what the cloud brokerage is supposed to be, right?
Yeah. There's a couple of them that do.
Yeah. And I mean, whatever works for you, but at the end of the day, we've talked about the sponsorship and how the money just dries up, right? At some point, it's like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Well, especially not monthly,
not
right?
Monthly,
like
no,
there's only so much that each of these other small businesses can give.
Yeah.
And every month, God.
Me and some other people have talked to some of these companies that you see sponsor everything all the time, and they're starting to say the same thing. Like, yeah, we're done. Like we're
because when you look at your yearly at the end of the year, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah,
like,
and it's
single-handedly like funding this.
Yes,
this is crazy.
Yes. And there's always that, there's a time and a place, and when you're trying to get brand recognition and get your name out there, sure, I get it. But once your name's out there, like at some point, you got to pull that back.
100%.
Right? Once everybody knows who you are, like, okay,
then you're investing in different spots.
Exactly.
You have to pivot.
So, like I've always said with marketing strategy, it's you got to rev certain parts of it up.
Yep.
Throttles other parts down, and you got to figure out which ones to implement at the right times.
Yep.
But you just can't keep throwing money at it, and at some point, it's like, man, $1,000 for 3 to 5 minutes, that just doesn't make sense.
No.
Month after month after month.
Nope.
When I've got all these contacts now, and I can just start doing one-on-ones and solidifying those relationships and stuff like that. So again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying don't do it, but there is a time and place. And when you hear so many people, one of the things that, maybe talk about next time, but the current state of the market, some people say they're busy, some people say they're really slow.
Yeah.
So if you're really slow, then the conventional wisdom would be, well, maybe they're slow too. Well, then I'm not coming out of pocket if I'm slow, right? Because I gotta get through the holidays,
yeah,
right? And all that stuff. So that's just another interesting point. Like you've shifted to this, but you're still trying to do the meetings and the training.
Yeah,
and you're getting other people to pay for it, right?
Right. I think what the cloud brokerages are going to run into is, from my perspective, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too, babe.
Right.
You don't actually have the agent splits with you as the brokerage, right? Like you're kind of hiding out with the safety net of the cloud brokerage umbrella, right? So like the cloud brokerage sits ahead of you, so you're saving yourself from the liability and all of that, but you're also not getting the money,
right?
And so then you're trying to source out your funds, but that only goes so far, and then you're going to run into the same thing, right? So like a cloud brokerage really only should exist. I've said this from day one. A cloud brokerage will only make sense for one of two agents. Either you do 2 to 4 transactions a year, or you do a crap ton of business, a ton, to where you're going to cap, and you have so much money that you can outsource on your own, right? You can outsource your trainings that you're going to do. You can outsource your office staff. You can outsource your own building if you want to. Like, those are the only two agents in which I truly feel like a cloud brokerage makes sense for you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of agents go to the splits, right?
100%.
And I think that's where I don't know all the details of what they offer, don't offer, but the number one answer I get when I ask them, like, so why'd you make the move? Because I just want to know. I'm just curious, right? Yep. And it's always, the first thing out of their mouth, just better splits, right? Yep. And part of that comes down to, again, the lack of a $30,000 a month building. So that's, again, going back to the changing landscape of outsourcing all this stuff and where the real estate's headed is these old school way of doing things,
Yes.
you know, they're struggling to compete because of that. Now there are people that leave and come back and all that stuff, or bounce around and whatnot, but you can't, you know, deny the fact that it does have an effect on these.
Yeah. And I think this is my crusade in life. If I could give any advice to agents, it's that you, like, I am you. I understand why you get split heavy, why you care so much about that. However, two things. Number one, I always say 80-90% of zero, still zero. Okay. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Like, where are you with your business? And this is what's so important is if you've got a business that's up and running, right? And you track it and you know what your budget is and you know what your income is, you know what your expenses are. You have a P&L statement. Like if you're actually running this like a business and you actually know what's coming in and what's going out and what resources you need and what resources you don't, fine. Take a look at a cloud brokerage. But here's what I see happening. And this happened to me. I got dragged to a cloud brokerage. I had no choice, right? I was on a team. There was new construction deals that were at play. I wasn't going to walk away from millions of dollars in transactions. So I gave it a go. I worked there for 15 months and then I went right back, right? Because while I, on paper, made more money and had a higher split, I also had a lot more responsibility on my plate, which took up a lot more of my time, and I had to outsource more things. So in the end, it was actually kind of a wash for me. However, for some people, if you're not as careful or as savvy or had as much time as I did to do things myself, instead of hiring somebody else to do it, you're going to end up in the red real quick. You're actually losing money being at a cloud brokerage trying to make yourself feel better about your split. And you're wrong. The math is not mathing.
Right. That's what I tell everybody. Like, if you're on a team, you got to make sure the team makes sense for you.
Yes.
You know, because every team offers something different, whether it's leads, whether it's support, whether it's the environment, the culture, the training, whatever. So if you need leads and the team's not giving you leads and that's your thing, and you know, then what's your split going to, right? Like, what are you paying for, right? If you want admin and they don't provide that, then again, what are you going for? But we're in a very unique place, especially post-COVID, because the gig economy is so strong now, because there's so many people that realize, you know what, the bar to starting my own business, which it was done this way on purpose to create more businesses and entrepreneurship. They're like, finally people starting to realize, like, man, I can do this from my home, whether that's marketing, graphic design, you know, for your marketing. You know, Canva has made things stupid easy for people. You know, your cell phone, how many people can record and go through an app on your phone and post to YouTube. Or go to a gig platform like Fiverr or someplace like that and pay somebody $10 to create reels for you. You know, so, you know, never mind the virtual assistants and the outsourcing of everything, of the other things that we talked about. So it's really, really interesting, like, how far this has gone, and you don't need to go to an office. No. You don't need that, if you don't want it, right? Like, you can turn around and, again, just outsource everything, as long as, again, go back to what you say, as long as you are producing, right? And it makes sense. And
do you actually know how much, like, this is the other hamster wheel I see agents get on. They don't, and I don't blame them, right? Because I did it. I think we've all done it at one point, especially when you jump into the entrepreneur kind of lifestyle, right? If you don't actually view it as a business and you don't actually keep your finger on it and know what's going on, then a lot of times they end up doing more, making less. And it's like, wait a second. Like, so for me, like, this is my passion project, right? Is really teaching agents to, like, give me an hour, sit down with me, figure out, what are you doing? What's coming in? What's going out? What do you value? What do you actually need? What's that worth to you? Could you do it somewhere else just as good or just as cheap? Like, figure out, what do you care about? What do you actually want for your brand? How much money do you need to make? And then go. But what happens is, I think, you know, you get your license, you're off to the races, you're running. And then you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still running. And then you're crash and burn.
I talked to somebody last night at a networking event, and they're getting married. and they were talking about, the venue and whatnot. We were just asking questions, and they said, yeah, we were going to do it on our own, kind of, but when we started planning it, we started like, oh, well, we got to, rent the chairs and the tables. Oh, we got to rent porta potties. Oh, we got to run extension cords. Oh, we got to set up and take everything down. It's like by the time we figured out all the things we had to do on our own, it was going to cost us more than going to a venue and having them handle everything. Right. Yeah. And I think with business, a lot of people just forget that, or they don't know that, right? Like, oh, again, I've used the analogy of the bar business. Like, hey, we can sling some drinks. That's easy. Good profit margins. Oh, we got to buy this. Oh, I got to need that. Oh, what about this?
And I learned this long ago from being a hairstylist.
Yeah.
I've always said that hair and real estate are two different animals, but they are very, very similar in the sense of like, I really had to sit down and be like, does it make sense to be a booth rent? Does it make sense to be a commission agent? Or stylist? Does it make sense to do my own thing? Right. Mm-hmm. And it's this same concept. And this is where I think if boutique brokerages were really, really smart, they will nail it because you're taking the best of both worlds. But what you can't do is only try to stay in the lane of like just a brick and mortar, but like baby version. Like you're still making the same mistake.
Yeah, you can't. Your eyes can't be bigger than your stomach when it comes to that. Right?
Yeah,
like so all that stuff looks cool. Like I've always said, man, it'd be really cool to have a nice big office and all the cool things and bright signs, but don't need it.
Nope.
Right? It's just a waste of money, right? So, but which leads to the next part of what we're going to talk about, and that's what's holding people back from the success, right? Yep. It's no secret that the I don't want to say washout rate, because sometimes people it's just not for them, right? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
It's a lot. I don't blame them for that.
Yeah, and there's burnouts real, weekends, nights, and there's other things. So it's not that they couldn't physically do it or they couldn't handle it. It's just not
right,
for them.
Or they weren't good at it. It's just I've seen so many really, really good agents just crash and burn.
Yeah.
Because it's too much after a while.
But there is a lot of agents that do flame out because they don't get traction, you know? So what do you think is some of the main points that hold agents back to go from that 2 to 4 deals a year to being that top producer?
I think number one is you didn't set out with intention. Is the biggest mistake that I see rookies or agents making. And it's not only when you're a rookie, but it's year after year. Like if you don't set out and lay out the foundation of the intention of what you're trying to do, what actually matters to you, you can't. I see a lot of like fly by the seat of their pants agents, right? Like they'll take whatever comes their way and they're going to never shut up on social media and they're going to hope that works, right? Like we're throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Right.
I don't think that's a good strategy for business. But I see a lot of that happening. I see a lot of just like chaotic energy of like, well, we'll see. And that number one mistake, I think the lack of organization as well from there of like, okay, figure out what kind of agent are you? What do you care about? What do you value? What are you offering? Yeah. What makes you different? Because you can't just be like, I'm going to put it in MLS and I'm going to work really hard.
That's
like,
right.
Baby girl, everybody does that. Yep. Shut up. Pick something else. Okay. But then from there, it's the organization and it's the actual like, how do I run this machine? What am I going to do? How is this all playing out? What is the budget? And if you don't know, hire someone who does to help you, or partner up with somebody who does, or a team might be valuable at that point. And then the third one, I honestly think we all fall into this trap. I think it's a little bit of ego. I think, the thing that will keep you from growing is you start to get a little successful. You start closing some stuff. Those commission checks, they look real big at first until you actually realize how much work you did or how long you're going in between, right? Yeah. But you get a big head and you're like, screw you, I just made 10 grand. Like, and then you're like, you're not learning and you're not trying and you're not training. And so then you're not growing, right? Like you just turned into an asshole all of a sudden. And so I think that's kind of the problem too, is like, you can't get too big for your britches ever, because baby, you might come up real fast, but I promise you will fall flat on your ass real fast too.
For sure. There's a lot of people who do that. They go there was an inspector, I think he's in Tennessee, and he posted this conversation between him and the agent was talking about how, the clients backed out of the house that he did the inspection for, and they felt like he should give a refund because because they didn't buy the house based off the inspection report. So he did his job.
Wild.
And she was like, so do you think you can do that? He's like, no. Well, how about we go 50-50? He's like, no, this isn't a me problem. I did my job and I did it well. And she
also,
said something.
The client paid for it.
And she says something to the effect like, well, I've heard good things about you. It's unfortunate. I'm never going to, in all my experience,
I think I saw this.
Yeah. All my experience, he's like, well, I just looked you up. You've done 3 deals. You've been an agent for 6 months. I think I'll be okay. And that's just that entitlement, that big head. Like, okay.
You got to be careful. And I think that I say that as somebody who also went through this, right? And I do think it's why I stay pretty, because year after year, it's the end of the year, I start getting real squirrely because I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter if I crushed it this year, if I crushed it 5 years ago, I don't know what's going to happen next year, and you have to remember that you got to stay stay level.
And that's, that goes back to, when we talk about all the sponsorship stuff, at some point, we create a budget and when we're tapped, because we have to plan for that. What if rates go up again? What if the market dips? I have to account to the bills I got to pay if we have a down year next year, so the money's got to be there. I think fear keeps a lot of people from busting through. They're afraid, whether it's through, they don't want to get outside their comfort zone. They don't want to do the networking. They don't want to do the cold calls. They don't want to do whatever it is that agents do to get business. Yeah. Not that all the things work for everybody, but the lack of confidence. Yes. That holds them back. Right. Yeah. And then I think the lack of truly planning. Yep. Right. Truly doing your research. Hey, how many people do you know that says, I'm going to be a realtor? Okay. And then after they go through the class, after they get their license, then they start man, this is really expensive. All the things I got to buy and get. And
that's
and
the thing I wish I could just put on blast.
Lock boxes.
Every time I pay an association fee, an MLS fee, a brokerage fee, if I could just full disclosure, full transparency, this is what I owe, I think people would shut up real quick. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah. And it's like I said, if you go to the bank and you want a loan to start a business, they want a business plan. Mm-hmm. They want all the things. They want your business plan. They want your 5-year, 10-year, all the things, because if they're going to give you money, they want to know. Yep. And I think a lot of people, not just realtors, but in a lot of businesses that, as Courtney's crawling around on the floor like a maniac, a lot of people that start a business, where you don't have to take out money or take out loans, they fail at that part of it of, okay, what does this really going to cost me? Yes. One of the things that I learned when I was getting one of my pieces of paper that they don't even hang on the wall, they're somewhere in the closet. But it was the model canvas model. Yeah. And it's really simple. It's one page and it lays out everything you need to do, right? Not what you need to do, but you fill in the blanks. Where am I getting my revenue at? Where's my revenue going after I get it? Where's my clientele? So all of that in one sheet, and it's a living sheet. It's a living document. So you always change it. So even if you don't do a full blown business model, the business model canvas is a great. It's something, right? Because again, I know a lot of people. Right. Okay. We had Molly in here for the last episode because you were Myrtle Beach or wherever. Not doing this. I know that.
I was not. Sure wasn't.
And Molly's a newer agent, right? Yeah. And she got her master's degree and thought long and hard. And she was honest. She's like, most of my spheres not ready to buy a house. Mm-hmm. They're young and they're just not there yet. And that shows a recognition, right? Self-awareness that, I know a lot of people because I'm an extrovert and I'm friends with so many people, but if none of them's ready to buy a house, then what are you going to do? Right. what if they don't trust you to buy a house? You might be best friends. And they're like, yeah,
and that
but you're new.
hurts. Like,
right?
yeah.
Like, I'm going to go with my mom's friend who's been doing this for 20 years.
Yep.
Right. And it happens.
And that's
happens
valid.
all the time. You know, and I'm a big
I
advocate.
Promise they will get their feeling. I have
You
not
will.
had my feelings hurt more or been more heartbroken than I have been in this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get it. I mean, I'm a big advocate of everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's brand new. Everybody
Yeah.
needs a chance. Right. But you can't fault somebody for saying,
Yeah.
but you're brand new. And this is a lot of money, and this is a big deal.
Right.
Right?
Or
Are you up
they've
to it?
had a relationship already, right? Like I got my panties in a wad, but then I had to humble myself and be like, you know what? Like they've had the same realtor for years.
Yeah.
And just because I got my license doesn't mean that all of a
Yeah.
sudden they don't know that guy.
And maybe before this, you were a train wreck, right? And it's like
That wasn't it. No, couldn't be me.
right. And it's like, man, I remember in college, you know,
If I went to college.
right? And do I really want to trust you? You know,
Yeah.
So there's a lot
Yeah.
of layers to that. So, like I said, I think it just goes back to just a lack of truly. Again, one of the hardest things in the world to do is to look in the mirror and do a true self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Not just the positives.
It's the ego,
but,
right?
but the negatives, right? And like, okay, can I really do this?
Mm-hmm.
Do I really have the support system? Do I really have the spear?
Do you have the plan?
Do we have the plan? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think those are two big things, along with what you said on what holds people back from
Yeah.
breaking through and getting off the Facebook groups of, I haven't had a deal in 6 months. What do I do?
Right.
You know, 'cause
And
there's a
knowing
lot
when
of
to
that.
call it quits. I've seen a lot of agents, they can kind of see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's the ego a little bit, and I think it's a hard choice, right?
It is.
Like
Nobody
to pull
wants to
the
fail,
plug and to
right?
realize like this isn't it
Yeah,
for me.
and it's not even a failure. It's just, this isn't for
No,
me.
like, I
or
gotta
maybe
pivot.
not for me right now.
right.
Right. And that's the thing about real estate. Like you can keep your license. You can just go into, referral status or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, maybe in a year, 2 years, 5 years, maybe you're in a better position to try it again.
Well, and the thing that's wild to me is like, I think that agents really underestimate the power of referral status too, because you get to set what your referral fee is.
Yeah.
So it's like, baby, you could go into referral status and you could come to Mandy and be like, hey, I'll pay you whatever amount. And
Yeah.
I could say yes or no. And then you could walk away with a fat check doing absolutely nothing. Why would you not?
I think a lot of it just comes back again. It's just that fear. People, when we talk about the washout rate again,
Yeah.
people don't want to feel like, oh, man, I
I'm
couldn't
part of
make
that 87%
it.
failure rate. Yeah.
And versus, I tried it, ain't for me.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I didn't like it. You know,
Yeah.
it's not what I thought it was going to be. I'm good. Right. I'm going to go make plenty of money someplace else doing something else. I'm going to be just as successful as all these other people that stayed. Right. So I think there's a stigma attached to it.
100%. And I always tell, like, I've seen many, many friends, especially over the last 2 years, a ton of my industry friends have gone ahead and they've dipped out, right? Like and there's been so many of them that even like, there's some that I truly respect. Like they were great agents and for whatever reason, they just didn't get the traction. But I always tell them, I'm like, man, I'm kind of low key jealous of you.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
they're off making a $79,000 salary. They got PTO out the wazoo. They're done at 4:30 every day. They got benefits.
That's right,
I'm
benefits.
like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Who's the sucker here?
Exactly.
Like, so I do think it's hard to make that call. But at the same time, it's like, you really got to look at, there's pros and cons here. And sometimes there are days that I'm looking at my friends who went and got a salary job and I'm like, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah. I say all the time, I'm always on LinkedIn looking at jobs.
Literally. I'm like, oh God, it'd
It's
be
today
so
today.
easy to get Mandy out of here sometimes.
today
Just
today.
throw me some PTO and I'm out.
It's today. I want to find somebody else to deal with all the problems. Yeah.
Literally.
I just collect a paycheck every 2 weeks. So
Sounds great.
yeah. So like I said, we got a short episode today. Do we want to tell them the secret?
Nah, we'll tell them next time.
All right, we'll tell them next time. So, any closing words? Any words of advice?
No, it's been good to be back in here though.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Well, next time.
Till next time.